tape, just what jumps out to you about the last 15 minutes of that game?
Yeah, right after the game, it kind of felt like tale of two halves. It was almost tale of 45 versus 15. When you really look back at it, when you're in it, it kind of feels like first half, second half. Been part of a lot of crazy games. A lot of times we're on the good side of those crazy games over the years here at Eastern. At that point on Saturday, we weren't. There was no doubt at some point in our minds that we were going to give ourselves a chance to win that game. Inevitably, we did. Just fell about 6 feet right of being successful. But the challenge is in those moments is a lot of times based on the outcome of the last field goal that was wide right. It still doesn't excuse the other 58 minutes and 52 seconds or 59 minutes, 52 seconds. And so that's where if we're capturing outcomes, that can get tricky at some point because all of a sudden, if you're not successful with outcomes, then all of a sudden, does that creep in self-doubt? Does that creep in team doubt? Does that creep in non-confidence? And then maybe on the other side of things, if you're winning, maybe you're kind of masking some things that maybe you don't want or haven't been exposed. And so both ways can be kind of tricky. So regardless of what happened before then, we were doing a lot of really good things at a tough place to play against a team that throws the ball well. Hardest thing to do, in my opinion, in football when you have a tremendous lead is to keep the lead. I mean, it's really hard. It's a lot easier to play from behind that far because you have nothing to lose. It's all 4 down. And you can say, well, they know what they're doing and you know what they're doing, but sometimes that can be harder than you think, knowing that they're going to pass the ball. We kind of stopped the run and the game didn't allow them to continue to run. There were a lot of good moments. And those things, I don't want to glorify those things too much because the end result, we didn't anticipate. We prepared for something different than the end result gave us, but that shouldn't start our growth. That should expedite our growth. And the nice thing about heading into this one, we go from a run-first team to a pass-first team back to a run-first team. So if we're worried about how we're going to do against the pass and how we're going to, it's a whole different focus this week, which I think can be a positive because all of a sudden it's not pass. Like, well, how are we going to fix that? Well, we got something. We got to scrub the chalkboards clean and go, okay, how do we fit these gaps? Not how do we fit these coverages? And so they're a hungry team. And neither team is where we anticipated to be at this point. But so goes life. So goes sports. Sports are awful and awesome all at the same time based on outcomes. And if you let the outcomes dictate your daily activities, I wouldn't get into sports too often because sports are going to develop more than just wins and losses. They're going to develop a lot of characteristics because of wins and losses.
You mentioned kind of the tale of the first 45 versus the last 15, but they're on the last drive. You have them in 4th and 9, and they put their big receiver against your best corner. Is that kind of exactly how you want that to go?
Absolutely. And they committed a tremendous play. At the end of the day, they made 2 plays late in the game, 3rd and 13 down the sidelines and cover 2. At some point, it wasn't blown coverages. Guys weren't running free. Guys weren't missing a ton of tackles. They were making tremendous plays in tight windows. Part of that is not getting home, not getting off the quarterback off a spot, but he can throw. Cook can throw from a lot of different arm slots. We knew that going in. They're a tough out. They've been a tough out for many teams up to this point. And just haven't scored more points than the team that they played against. And that's a good outfit. That's a good club. We took advantage of a lot of things on offense against their defense a lot. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do 20-20. It matters what you do when you put points on the board. And it's unfortunate because the first play was kind of a microcosm of maybe how the day ended up looking back. They kicked the ball out of bounds. We have them re-kick. We talked about that during the week. That's what we're going to do. We run the ball back for a touchdown, get called back on the penalty. We punt it on the ensuing drive. So that's 7 points inevitably in that game that we gave up based on a flag on the ground. And so we need to play, and we'll play more discipline this week. There's too many physical errors that we didn't need. But this team is dynamic. They're believing in each other, and they have a lot more to give than just 3 quarters. So we're after 60 this week.
Coach, it seemed to me that all season, whether it's coming off a win or coming off a loss, you guys always seem to come out strong, in those games. Is that emotional toughness, or is that just like simplifying it too much?
I think it's maturity. I think it's growth. I think it's experiences. good and bad from the past. I think it's leadership. I think it's a lot of things. And it's interesting because this time last year you said, how come you're not starting as fast? And then all of a sudden you commend us for starting fast. And then I want to know, just like you want to know, why about the last 50? There's always something in games or in seasons that you can say, aha. That's what sports are, especially when you're not preparing for them. When you're covering them or you're asking about them, it's easy to look at the stats and go, yep, third down was an issue. Well, I mean, how many hours did we spend trying to drop things? And they do some things. They play third down defense. It's a chess game. It's not a checkers game. It's been awesome to watch those guys. And I would say we've started slow in a few games. And then that was our emphasis going into the next week, is starting fast. And sure enough, we did. And then we hit a halt. So I'd love to say start fast, stay fast, end fast. This league, as much as your mentality wants to be that, this league is going to test your start, stay, and end. I mean, it's not going to be just roll in any game we play, no matter who we are. These are too good of teams in this league. It's just, that's what it is. And that's what the outsiders want to know. How come you're not putting 55 points? You know what? I ask the same questions, but I know the answers. You're searching for the answers. Sometimes you're just not built like that because of the teams you play, the style of play you play, and situationally. So those are the good conversations. At the end of the day, no answer is going to be the correct answer someone wants to hear, because at the end of the day, we all believe what we want to believe. Even though it might be the answer to the question that you were searching for, you may not want to believe it, or you may. Kids done a great job all year in practice. Haven't been perfect. They fought. I think the best thing about us starting fast, honestly, is practicing on Mondays. We haven't practiced on Mondays in probably 20 years here. And we've practiced Mondays, getting back, win or lose, playing football, being together on Mondays. Some guys, let's be honest, they weren't watching any film until Tuesday after we filmed and flushed on Sunday. Some guys, every team has those guys. There's always guys that don't. And we were preparing Tuesday for a Saturday game when we could have done it on Monday. So we decided to take Sunday off. I got a lot of barking by the coaches because that puts more on us to start the week early, but it's better for the players. If it's all about the players, then let's be about the players. And we're better off this season because a lot of the characteristics we possess in this 23 team compared to last year, but also because I think we get on board with the next team, win or lose on Mondays. I do think that's helped us tremendously.
You were talking about the chess game, and you and Weber have had some great battles over the years. What does it say about two programs where year in and year out it always seems like they match up for a great game? Players come and go, but the matchup seems to stay good.
Well, I tell you, I have a ton of respect for what Coach Hill did taking over that program because they were not good. About 8 or 10 years at not good. I mean, not good at all. And he made them real good. I think he's got 4 rings somewhere in Provo now. As D coordinator there. He went from taking over that team and not being respected at all in any of the phases of the game to being arguably one of the most respected defenses in the league or the country, certainly special teams in the league and the country. So they expect to win on those two fronts. And they try to control the ball. They try to run the ball. So when you're pitting up, usually a pretty good offense, pretty explosive offense at Eastern against a really good defense at Weber, I mean, something's got to give. And then all of a sudden the special teams is kind of that leaner. And they've got after us, amongst many people, on special teams, whether they're fakes, returns, and or situational football at times. But they're always fun. When you have two good teams and they're capable of doing what they're doing, it makes for a lot of fun. It makes it a little bit more fun when obviously you can celebrate after a game. It's been a while against Weber since that's happened. So we're after it just like any game. There's no revenge, never a revenge factor against any team at any point in at any time of the year. This is about us. How can we be the best version of us for longer minutes than we were last week?